All right. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, January 30th, 2023. First month down of the year. Wow, it's kind of hard to believe. I say it all the time, time flies. When we're having fun. But what if you're experiencing resistance? And just as a human, in this human experience, we are all going to experience resistance in life. And as I'm always guiding in the work that I do, I say there's a push and pull, as we know, in every aspect of living. So, how do you manage those times when there is a really strong push and pull in your life? What is showing up for you? What is your response? So, in my experience over these years of doing what I do, I have found more often than not that most of us desire to turn our back to the resistance. It's scary, doesn't feel good, may hurt. And I hear this all of the time where really, if you turn to face your resistance and you turn to own your resistance, I have a band here that I'm going to demonstrate a little something here in a minute. You will start to develop the relationship with your resistance, because it's usually when there's this lack of balance and understanding of how to develop and strengthen this relationship with your resistance that you will start to experience that famous word, suffering. And what we want to try to avoid in all aspects of our life, all areas of our life, is, of course, less suffering. We don't want to suffer. That is the true pain. Actually, facing the resistance is not the pain. So, that was the topic of, I had a couple of clients this morning, my individual clients, and this topic was coming up a lot. So I decided, well, I'm going to go live about this today because it's a pretty heavy one, because it affects so much in life if you are working out of balance. And we know that, just to be general, but if you learn how to establish this relationship with resistance, then you're going to see things open up and expand in your life in every aspect. So let me take an example of a client that was coming in with a lot of back pain. And this client was really being careful, did not want to move, is afraid to turn because of the pain that shows up. And as we started to move and manipulate the body, even if it was a little scary, and that's why I always advise, working with someone who is experienced that can help you move your body and help ease, and from a trained eye, how to move in particular positions, that is going to release the pain. And it doesn't release the pain immediately, may even have more pain show up in the body before it actually wants to move out. But it's in that moment that I have found in my years of experience that people give up, or they, feel defeated and think that it's never going away. And then the cycle just continues. But the thing is that you can apply that to every part of your life, regardless of whether it's just actual physical movement and using resistance, like a resistance band where you're pulling it apart and then releasing it. Or if, let's take a relationship. I was using an example earlier today. Let's just take, I was using Susie. Susie's at work and she's experiencing some resistance with a colleague at work. And what Susie's desire to do is to turn her back to it. And what shows up? Well, she's out gossiping. She is talking with her friends about, what this particular colleague. And then we know what happens in that scenario. It's not going to go well. So Susie was actually turning her back to the actual resistance of what her colleague is wanting to try to work through. And maybe it was painful. Maybe her colleague was not being very nice. But how it is showing up in her, the rest of her world, she's choosing to go and gossip about it. And we know that is going to eventually kind of kill the relationship at work, and may even, cause her to lose the job. So that's how it can show up in your everyday life, your work life. The same applies to your body. The same applies to, this mindset work. is that if you are turning your back to what is uncomfortable, you are only going to create more discomfort. And trust me, I have seen it for now, what, these 20 years or even more, because I have children that are now in their 30s. So, I've had a different type of experience in training, but also it applies to this space of movement and how you can facilitate your body by simply building a relationship with resistance. Resistance is here to help us. Resistance is there to support us and empower us and give us the strength and give us the leverage to be able to stand up, be able to walk, to be able to communicate. And it all comes from, again, establishing this relationship. So, how do you do that? How do you do that? Well, you have to firstly understand what is resistance for you. Like, what is resistance? So I'm going to use this band as an example. So if I start to stretch this band and I'm reaching that point to where it's way overpowering me, my shoulders are killing me and my arms are like popping, I've let it go too far. And what's going to happen is going to kind of pop back like the rubber band. But if you start to ease into this relationship and I go, okay, I'm going to inhale, open the band. I'm going to exhale, release the band. Okay, I'm starting to feel where my edge is. Where's that boundary line? So that you can start to develop that balanced push and pull so there's equal distribution. We want to just speak in those terms. So, how do you start to distribute your effort in and allow it to come back so that you start to develop this fluid, almost, I refer to dance, that's the imagery that I prefer to use, but that is what is going to help you in every part of your living, from your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, your nutrition and your sleep, your relationships, and into your financial health. You have to be able to balance. If you have someone who hoards all of their money and they hide it and stuff it in the mattress, and because they're afraid of somebody stealing it or the bank losing it, well, then what happens if the house burns down and they are left without all the money? Do you see where I'm going? So there has to be this equal distribution of effort in everything. A little, I guess, science and physics there, just applying it to everything. So, I'm asking today, and, for you to pause and just take a look at your life and where you're feeling some resistance. And then pause and just think about your response to that resistance. Are you turning your back to it? Are you the gossiper? Are you the one, judging? Or are you the one participating and asking, okay, what can I give back to this relationship with the colleague at work? But also, what can you do with your own body physically to help build the strength, the physical strength? So just pause and think for today, like, where is resistance showing up in your life? And then again, the second would be, how are you managing the resistance? Again, are you turning your back to it, or are you facing it and addressing it and trying to find that the resistance or the effort to the resistance that will best serve you mentally and physically? That's when I have found clients have their breakthrough. That's when they are like, wow, I feel amazing. I feel free. And that is just what I love. I love. So today's word is resistance. And how are you managing that resistance so that you can become the manager of your own life and not allow the resistance to overpower you? Because eventually it will break you. I've seen it over and over. Eventually it will break you. So I'm going to leave you with that. And I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of this week, the final week of our first month of 2023. And definitely reach out if you have any questions about resistance and how can I help you find that appropriate resistance or distribution of push-pull to help you find strength, not only just in your physical body, but in every other aspect of your life. All right, so I'm going to start showing up more, and I just hope everybody's had a fantastic start to your Monday, and I will see you next time. Bye.